Welcome back to the kitchen, everyone. We have a fantastic show in store for you today. We brought in Caitie Solomon of Champion Title to go through with us all the ins and outs of what it takes for a title company to make sure that a real estate transaction goes off as smoothly as possible. She's going to go through all of it with us. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think you'll enjoy, so sit back and relax. This is what I've been waiting for. This is Caitie Solomon of Champion Title.
Hello.
Caitie, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Yes, I've been looking forward to this. I've been looking forward to showing you this, making this for you.
Yeah, this is incredible.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just excited about the day, the time together, you know. And I'd like to give just a brief how and why. Caitie, as I said, is with Champion Title, and her company, what they do, they handle all the title and paperwork when it comes to moving through a real estate transaction and having it settle and close on time, and everything is moved over and set for that new buyer, right? But specifically why Caitie? We talk a lot. We spend a lot of time together. And whenever we get together, it's not just a normal like business meeting where we pull out laptops and notebooks and get right to work.
I don't think we've ever pulled out
I don't think we've ever written anything down, but we always meet for coffee to discuss work.
Yes.
I've never had coffee with Caitie.
Have you?
Turmeric, ginger, latte.
Yeah, we tried different drinks.
Chai tea.
Something.
I had never had a chai tea latte before meeting with Caitie.
And I remember that caffeine got you, and like those eyes were like this.
Yes, I was hopped for like I don't know how many days, but it's never been normal. You know, it's always fun. It's always different, and that's why I thought this would be fun because I thought this is you in my eyes.
Oh, thank you. That's like the nicest compliment ever.
Something we can like pick and choose and play with and create and get excited and just talk. And along with that, again, not just coffee, we're drinking sparkling water.
Yes.
Why? Because we are both addicted, if you will. And it's never...
Love it. Cheers. We both love our sparkling water.
And it's never your traditional, you know, lemon or lime or just plain. It's always... I think this one is called Dragon Fruit Lemonade, and we've got pineapple guava and orange vanilla is a favorite. And Polar provides the perfect array of craziness, and for us, it's perfect. So I've got 2, 4, 6.
He has many
24-ounce, 32-ounce bottles for us to go through, and all the food. And I thought we would just get into.
Well, before we get into this, since you are hosting me so graciously in your beautiful home and everything, I have brought you. It's not cold right now, but you'll have to put it in the fridge. This is one of my new favorite Waterloos.
Yeah,
it's one of my new favorite. It's watermelon.
Oh, I didn't know.
It's so good. So you have to try that one today.
Okay, I will. I love it.
And then because you have always been Ride or Die Champion Title.
You know it.
Our new T-shirts that we have. You always close like a champ.
Oh,
so
here's
your
cool.
new T-shirt.
Oh,
so you're hosting me. I wanted to make sure it's very soft.
I love it.
Good.
I love it. I'm a T-shirt junkie, and the softer the better. Thank you so much. How cool is that? Right? Hashtag. It is, man. Thank you.
And this is incredible. I actually am very impressed that you picked this for me, and I'm going to tell you the 2 reasons why.
Okay, go.
1, I'm a charcuterie freak. I always am the one that's chosen to make them for any event, bridal shower, baby shower, birthday parties, whatever. Nice. So that's the first one.
Okay.
And I was telling you, I just spend way too much money on like groceries and all that kind of stuff. And when I do a charcuterie board, it's unbelievable what I do. But then my second thing, you would have never known this, and this is what's so crazy. Black olives are so underrated.
Right?
Right?
Yes.
So underrated. And so since I was little, this is what's so crazy. Since I was little, my parents knew I loved black olives. Like we'd all put them on our fingers, you know, like it was whatever. Like when you were little, you eat them at like Thanksgiving, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
Well, it turned into such a staple at my house that I actually, and people are going to think I'm even weirder than they probably already think I am. But in my Easter basket, my dad used to put a can.
Oh my God.
So it's just so funny because it's like, I mean, it would be like the other Easter fun stuff, but it was always like as a joke. And so when you were like hearing you go on about black olives, I'm like, yes, somebody understands me.
Awesome. Yes. I love olives.
Yeah.
You know, period.
Yeah.
And I love, tapenade.
Mm-hmm.
I love tapenades. I love olives,
Mm-hmm.
but so many olives have such strong flavors.
Yeah.
I love black olives because it's very mild
Mm-hmm.
and it'll take on whatever flavor it's associated with.
Absolutely.
I grew up, of my two sisters, my younger of the two sisters was a black olive pizza junkie growing up. And she even went through this phase where we'd get pizza and she'd take all the cheese off, but then she'd put the black olives back on. And I mean, we've always had black olives. And I think in something like this, because this is all about flavors, right? It's all about picking and playing. And yeah, we've kind of got things associated together, but you pick and choose and move things around. These will take on all of these flavors.
Absolutely.
And or stand alone. And so, yeah, that was
so funny.
Cool.
Like, seeing the love of the black olives, I was like, this is going to be good.
See, I knew this would be a good thing for you.
Oh, for sure.
Because this is us. I could see us making a day of this.
Oh, yeah.
And the funny thing is we would get so much accomplished in that day and not even realize it.
Oh, yeah.
And crush the board.
Yeah.
So that's
But it's also one of those things where it's something that brings people together. And I think that's a lot of what we do for a living is we're bringing people together. We're building our relationships with people. Yes. So that's what I think. That's what I think of when I personally see a charcuterie board.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah. And just so you know, while we're picking and choosing, you've got fig and ginger jam.
Wow.
You know about your black olives.
Yeah.
And that's just your run-of-the-mill traditional basil pesto, which is not something you would think would be on here, but you'd be shocked when you take Swiss cheese with pesto and an apricot, what kind of flavor you get there.
I would not have put that together.
And that's Jarlsberg Swiss, so it's really sweet.
Okay.
It's not just like your traditional dry blend. It's very sweet. It's very soft.
Interesting.
Sheep and cow milk brie.
I love brie.
Right? And what I don't have out, and I could always get some, honey, believe it or not, goes really well with brie. But I didn't grab any because my little honeycomb stick broke. So I don't have it. And then that's a mild pepper jack.
Okay.
Right? So
it all looks so good.
Thank you. What I was hoping is that we would sit, chat, let me ask you some questions. We'll eat some little charcuterie up.
Yeah.
See how many bottles of sparkling water we can put down. And go from there.
Bottle to bottle with Polar.
Yes, I would like to thank Polar for all of their interesting flavors. Dragon fruit lemonade. It's
good.
Awesome. Right?
I like that.
And I'm excited to try this because I don't get a lot of them in cans because I never can, I never get to finish them if I leave it overnight or whatever. But I love Waterloo, but I've never had watermelon, so that's going to be fun.
Yeah,
Thank you.
It's a good one. That's been my staple through summer. I feel
really
like that's
cool.
what I've constantly been going back to, that one. Highly recommend.
Caitie brings me a gift almost every time we get together, and it's always in the form of a different flavor.
It
and
is.
I've loved them all. Orange vanilla quickly became a favorite. Now I can't wait for watermelon.
Oh, yeah.
So
orange vanilla.
Let's get into it,
Yes.
and please get into this whenever you're
For
ready.
sure.
So let's start from the beginning. So champion title. Title agents, settlement agents, you meet, when you're in the real estate transaction and the whole process is happening, you communicate, especially these days, with email, and then COVID came and we did Zoom and all that stuff. You communicate via the internet primarily. You don't talk on the phone very much. You never meet in person really. By the time you meet your settlement agent or the person from the title company, it's the last day of the whole process, pretty much, right? Otherwise, it's emails.
Yeah, for the most part. So like for Champion, the way that we've always been structured, for the last over 30 years, it's been all about building our relationships with our real estate agents and lenders and our clients. And so for us, you have, you're meeting us as far as business development. You can come to me if you have any questions, anything that pops up. I'm always here to help with any client events people do, things like that. And really building that relationship and keeping things comfortable and making you trust the company and all of that, and building that trust. But then we also have so many different portions of our business. So we have teams of processors. So your processors, whenever you send in your contract, that is your person that is focused on your contract, getting you guys from contract to close. And really that's another Haley. She's incredible.
Love her.
She is absolutely incredible. And so, you know, with that, that's another part of building your relationship, right? So we're building the relationship to get you to trust, you know, to get agents to work with Champion. But then also our processors, like I always say they're the MVPs, them and our attorneys, they are the MVPs of the business,
right?
Because your processor is the one that is doing all of the work on the back end.
Mm-hmm.
So they're making sure that, you know, once that contract comes in, they're with you, talking to you and your client. They're also making sure that they are getting everything over to the rest of our team, which is title search, all of that, and then also dealing with the lender that's on that side of the deal too. So really, they're the ones keeping everything together. And then as far as our attorneys, they're the ones that are reviewing your file as the whole process is going on. So they're making sure everything's going well, and then also doing that final review before closing to make sure everything's looking good. And then also they're the ones for the most part that are going to be at the closing table with you.
Right.
And so the best part about the attorneys that we have, Case and Associates, they are they're here with us with Champion, and they have been doing this for so long that they just make an agent and the client come in and feel like they've got everything under control. I trust you. Let's go. Let's do the thing. Because, you know, sitting down there and, you know, signing all those papers, it's very over. I did it myself. And that's actually how I kind of got into everything with Champion. And it was really like, I was going into this, you know, a single woman. I had a lot going on personally. My dad had pancreatic cancer. Like I was doing this quickly, buying a home quickly.
Yeah.
And like, I did it, you know, to have that like special thing that he could be a part of, you know? And so I remember when I walked into closing, well, first I have to like rewind. So this is how we do when we talk. We like get talking, then we're like, oh, wait, we got to rewind a little bit and go back.
Y'all better hang on.
Yeah.
Because
yeah, hang on.
I have no idea what direction this is going. You know?
But for my whole process, all of my friends that were buying homes around the same time were like, you are going to lose your mind. I wasn't working for Champion yet. I was working for another company I've been with for 10 years. And they were like, our process from start to finish, it was like pulling our hair out. And I was just like, wait, did I make the right decision to do all this? You know? And so when I got under contract and everything got started, I felt like, oh my gosh, like, should I be reaching out to these people more? Like, I mean, I was hearing back and forth from them, but the process was so weirdly easy.
Yeah.
That I was looking at my friends like they were crazy because I was like, this is working really well. And then even to when I went to close, I remember I walked in and I was so nervous. I was like, I don't like, you know, you're signing on this house by yourself and it's just nerve-wracking and everything. And this was like 7 years ago. And I go to sign everything and I just like looked at her and I was like, can you just dumb this down for me? And I'm sure she was like, this girl's trying to buy a house and she's asking me to dumb it down. Yeah. And I said, and I mean that the best way possible. Like, you know, it's a lot there. There's so much. There's, you know, it can be very overwhelming in the moment. And she like literally dumbed it down for me, but didn't make me feel silly about it. Like she just kind of put it in a little bit of an easier, you know, way to comprehend when you're nervous and all of that. And then so signing through everything was such a great experience. And so, you know, it's, you can make people feel that way. And that's how our attorneys, I believe, make people feel. And that's why, you know, like I say, our processors and our attorneys are really our MVPs.
I would agree. I would agree. I love, because I do most of mine at the Fairfax office. So I'm with Ann a lot.
Oh, she's so sweet.
Who is so cool.
Yeah.
But then, you know, like you just said, to make it as personable and relationship building, which, I mean, in this day and age, it can't get any more important than building relationships. And what we do for a living, this is one, if not one of the biggest decisions, transactions that a person is going to make in their life, right?
Yeah.
And so the more personable you can make it, the better. And I get a kick because this has happened to me every single time that I have done a deal with Champion. You know, first thing we do is we send the contract right over, and the processor gets in touch with the buyer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I get the exact same email or text every
Yeah.
time. Is her last name Kupka or Cupcake? Because she's awesome. So Haley Kupka is my processor.
She's incredible. Yeah.
I have
absolutely
every
incredible.
single client.
Mm-hmm.
Her last name's Cupcake. You can't go wrong with that. And then boom, it's a piece of cake. They love it after that. And it's just, it cracks me up because right there, we just made a personal connection and it never even met her, you know?
Mm-hmm. And that's another thing too with what I do and meeting with agents and meeting with lenders and everybody is trying to figure out who we believe that agent would work best with behind the scenes, all of that. Like you try to kind of gauge people's personalities and see who they're going to match with the best and who, you know, just to make your process just as easy as, you know, your clients. So really that's one of the main reasons why I'm constantly doing coffees and, you know, all the things, because it's that's that building the relationship so that I can help you build that next relationship, which I think is the most important relationship in the title world, is that relationship with your processor. So when we know you're going to mesh well, it's beautiful.
She answered a question before I asked it. What's the science behind how you match? Because we're all, everybody's matched, and I think it's great. And like you said, the coffees, I mean, her Instagram is coffee with Caitie. You know, it's never going to be just a cup of coffee, but it's coffee with Caitie. It might have turmeric in it or ginger. Or
you never
Lord
know.
knows what else. But, you know, so tell me, I mean, as bubbly as you are, you know, as exciting as you are to be around, how did you get where you are? I mean, did you get into title work? You know, why? Tell me that. I want to know.
So after I had bought my home, I had been with the company for 10 years.
Man, are you a numbers person?
No.
Like, are you one of those?
No.
Okay.
I'm a people person.
All right. So I'm not going to
I was a numbers person for like 10 years at this company. And then I think I realized that I was more of a people person. And I didn't realize that until this opportunity came about, really. I mean, I knew I could talk to people. I knew I could keep conversation. I knew I had, you know, great friendships and social people around me. Like I always felt that way. But I actually have family in the real estate business, and they had been trying to get me to come over into the real estate business for years. And the company I'd been with, one of the women that ran it was really sick, and I just couldn't leave. I'd never felt right to leave. Like it just didn't feel good to do it. So finally, I had hit this point one day, and I was just like, I think I want to try something new. And so I had reached out to family that is in the business, and they were like, we think we know of a really good opportunity. And so when they had brought up Champion, the greatest part of that was that, you know, I knew how to deal with the company. Like I knew, or not how to deal with the company, but I knew what the company did. I knew how they worked. I knew how they made me feel. And so it's like that kind of cheesy saying. It's like, people don't remember what you did. Like, what was that? They don't remember what you did, how you did it. They remember how you made them feel. And so like that, to me, that was like a big deal to me. So when I came over into, you know, working with Champion, it was great because Ryan, who I work with, I've known him since we were young. Like, so it was really kind of cool. Like, it was kind of like all of these people mixing up together that it just clicked very, like, weirdly easy. And I remember my first week of not being behind a desk all day long and in front of a computer and numbers and all that kind of stuff. I remember I had that feeling of like, I could never do this. Like, I could never like not work with people directly one-on-one. You know what I mean? Like I can't do that. So that's kind of how I got into it. And really, I mean, I had known how the process went just from buying my own home, but I didn't know the whole behind the scenes process. And so the cool part about Champion was, let's have you sit with a different section of different teams of what everyone does here before you even get out there and start. So it was kind of cool to be able to sit down with our title search company. And like, he'd be like, give me an address. And I would give him my address, and he'd look back and see, you know, you can see all the history on a home or on a, you know, like in any location. So there was all kinds of things that I got to sit down, also see what processors do, sit down and watch them kind of going through their day to day, making sure all their agents were happy and all their clients were happy, and just kind of their checklist to make sure that everything's on the up and up. And same with attorneys, sitting through closings. I remember I sat through a closing that was a, you know, really high priced deal. And I walked in and they were like, we have champagne and chocolate strawberries. And I was like, what did I just sign myself in up for? Like, this is awesome. Like, I didn't expect this.
Just the right
room? Yeah, I was like, this is pretty cool. And they're like, well,
Right.
it doesn't happen every time, but you're going to have some really fun ones. So it was really fun. Like, I remember kind of like, whoa, I didn't really expect this. So
Yeah.
There was, it kind of all happened very naturally. And here we are almost, it'll be 7 years in March later. So.
And you're out of Sterling office, Ashburn's office.
I'm kind of
Fairfax's
out of Ashburn.
office.
I'm out of all of the
Where is
offices.
Caitie?
Yeah, I'm out of all of the office really. My actual desk is in Ashburn, but I have a desk I can use in Sterling, Fairfax. Like sometimes I say my desk is probably like an agent. It's like our desks sometimes are our cars, which sounds kind of crazy, but
true.
It can feel like sometimes that's where.
Well, my first closing, I walked in and I asked for you.
Oh,
the Fairfax office. I was like, is Caitie Solomon here? She goes, no. And I went, oh, she's not here today? She goes, no. I said, well, oh, is this not her office? And she went, well.
Yeah.
And I said, well, where's her office? She goes, well.
Yeah, she's kind of all over the place.
And then I think it was Ann who was like, I think Sterling. And I was like, oh, she's going to jump. I'll never find her. I'll just call her. It's fine. But so tell me about, so when I send, because what I want to make sure people understand is, okay, here's a big question. I don't get this often, but I have gotten this before from clients. And I'll say, hey, look, you need to be over the next 21 days, 35 days through the closing process. You're going to get a multitude of emails. They're going to come from every direction. Anything you don't know, understand, or have a question about, you just call me, text me, and I'll walk you through it. But you need to be on the lookout for certain things that have certain benchmarks and timeframes set to them. They're going to come from the champion, or sometimes I'll say champion, sometimes I'll say Haley, and they'll say, wait, who in her? The title company is going to send you blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I just got that the other day and responded and sent back. And I'm like, well, no, that came from the lender. Okay. You're going to get some from the title company as well. Well, wait, what's the difference?
Yeah.
And I said, okay, well, let me explain the difference. But I think it'd be more fun if you explained the difference. Because like I said, I don't get it often. I mean, most people know and understand. A lot of people have bought a home before, but there are people who don't know the difference between the lender and the title company or who does what.
So the lender, they're dealing with, I always kind of say it, when I'm especially explaining it to like new agents or something like that too, is like they're dealing with the money part of it as far as they're making sure that you are able to buy this home, right? They're the ones that are, pre-approvals, all of that. That's all your lender. And then on the title side, we're checking and making sure that there's nothing wrong with the home. We're doing the title search, we're doing all of that. And then ultimately, we deal with the county, we deal with all types of different situations. You're figuring out, making sure that there's no liens, there's no this, there's no that. You have all on our side as well. And then really ultimately at the end of the day, your title company and your lender are going to come together and make sure that our numbers all balance out. Okay. So anything that, we're all sending back and forth, making sure that everything balances out. So we really work very closely also, with the lender and all of that too. We have really great lender relationships too. Because
I do have that a lot where the lender will immediately reach out to me and say, who's your processor at the title company? But I don't get too much overlap after that. So do you all overlap throughout the whole closing process, or do you check in at the beginning, then you check in at the end to make sure everything balances, or is it throughout?
We're checking throughout. I mean, anything
I think
pops
sometimes
up.
I update both of you, and I may not need to.
I think, honestly, though, I think at that point, I think a processor or anybody is just happy to have the updates and knowing that everyone's getting what they need. I think everyone would rather have all the information instead of missing something. So you're good on that. But, as far as with the lender and the title company, they're kind of keeping in touch with each other throughout the whole process. But really at that end, the end of the whole process, that's when they're balancing, making sure everything kind of looks good on both sides. Our attorney's reviewing, making sure that everything looks good for, closing in a couple days. And then we move forward from there. So really it's, the title company And also just another little quick fact about title companies is people always think like, oh, my title company or the attorney is my attorney, my person representing me. But you always have to remember, yeah, we're there helping, like, and working with the deal, but also you have to remember that a title company is actually representing the contract. Right. So, you know what I mean? And that's something that like I feel like is always kind of something that can come out in certain situations is we can recommend that you speak to someone outside of like in a real estate attorney. We can always recommend that kind of stuff, but there's certain things we can help with as far as contract questions, things like that with your clients and, with you and all of that. But really, ultimately, the title company is representing that contract.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they're there to ensure its success and completion. Mm-hmm. That not as much the buyer or the seller. They're concerned with the contract.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yes.
And so, okay, well, before we keep going, quick tip for everyone, because I want to dive into this. So whichever direction you want to go, I'm going this way, but you take this Jarlsberg, this lightly sweet Swiss cheese, and you dab a little of the pesto. Now, remember, these are charcuterie boards. We're pretending, we're playing, but, flavors are subjective, but this is what I like. The pesto with that sweet Swiss, and then a little bit of the prosciutto. And the last thing, an apricot or a cherry. Oh. I like these with this because it's such a light flavor. Now that's like, well, that's a lot to put in your mouth, right?
Yeah.
If you can take a bite, take a bite. If not, you put the whole thing. Or if you mix match. But these flavors
together.
Yeah. And then if you're coming this way, the brie with the cherries, and if you want to take a bite of an olive with one of those cranberry toasts, it's really nice.
I think that's what I'm going to do.
I'm sitting here giving instruction when we're playing with a board, but this is important stuff.
It is.
Flavor matching.
Yeah.
So tell me, while we're matching and going back and forth, why Champion? Why, their processes, their core values that led you to that way. I know, you did the closing with them and it was such a great experience, but what is it about the ins and outs behind the scenes of them?
Well, I think it's so many years of experience. They've, Champion's been around for over 30 years and really they are opening up to different technology. Is that good? New technology and different things like that. And ultimately, like, as you've seen, we've been growing and growing. And just especially in the time, like I mainly can focus on that the last almost 7 years. I've been growing a really, exponentially. And so the way I look at it is something that's so big to me. And I know like Ryan, my colleague, and all of us that are in business development and everything, it's always wanting to keep that relationship or it's always trying to keep like not feeling that corporate feel, not feeling that bigger business feel. Like we always want people to walk in to the office feeling like it's, like, hey, haven't seen you in saw you a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like having that feeling of, comfort with our attorneys or just knowing that, you're still going to have that small family-owned company feel. That's that's very, very important to me. Yeah. That's like that's probably my biggest core value for what I'm wanting to make sure, always stays with me and with Champion that what I do. But, and also just, like I told you, our employees are incredible. And, we've had people that have been with us for 15, 20 years. And then we also have people that have been with us since COVID, like we've had people that have just, and we have like this incredible group of processors that I've always been confident in our team, but there's something different about this group of processors that we have right now that I just feel so confident about what I do. I mean, it makes me being able to have conversations and meeting with agents and clients makes me feel good about I can give you to whoever because I'm so confident in our team. So I think it's the growth. I think it's I think it's just the way that people have felt with Champion. It's been this company that's been around for a long time. There's so much trust in the name. We always do things. We always do things the Champion way, which is we're very, very above board. That's such a big thing to us. Is doing things the right way, and treating people the right way, and just always doing things above board is so big, and always making the right decision and putting our clients first and our agents first and our lenders first. That's such a big thing to us.
Are you part of that decision-making process of, I'm putting this agent with this processor?
Yes.
You are teaming and matching people up?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So our team, we have a team, a couple of really, really awesome ladies that are, every time a new file comes in, they're letting me know, hey, we have a newer agent that we, either our first contract with them, or, we haven't done business with them for a little bit. They're sending a contract in. Who do you want us to match them up with?
Yeah.
So we have such a good team with that, because they know that's such a big deal to me and to business development. That's what makes us, different, because there's also a lot of title companies that don't do that, where they don't keep you with the same processor all the time. That's such a big deal to us, is trying to keep you with that same processor across the board, because that way you learn how they work, they learn how you work, and it just makes the whole process a lot easier.
Yeah.
And you don't see that all the time. So I think a big thing for us, like I said, it's always doing the things the right way. It's always making our clients feel comfortable. That can be a very nerve-wracking day. When you're signing those papers, you always want to make everyone feel comfortable and feel, excited. You want to make them, and it really makes me think back in like COVID, right? It was such a change for us, because things were changing every other day, and we had to do all these different things to make the agents comfortable, but mainly making your client comfortable. So there was a time where, just your clients were coming in for closing, and agents and lenders couldn't come in. Like it really, we've had to change we had to change things so quickly and figure out the right way of doing everything so quickly. And I'm so glad that we're back to being able to have the whole process for like the whole end result, the whole finish line there for them.
My first closing was, we went to Champion Title in Fairfax. Mm-hmm. So I went to the office, but never set foot in it. Mm-hmm. Took us down the hall. We were in this room with there's a computer screen, the paperwork and a pen, and then boop, Ann's face popped up. Hey! And we did it via Zoom in 2 separate rooms.
The thing is, I think that was such a worry of, you're trying to keep this whole transaction so personal with the companies and all of that you get a little bit nervous of, oh man, when everything's online, what are we going to do? I mean, even for my job, trying to figure out how to really get myself out to the agents, I felt like I was meeting them all in Zoom, like constantly.
That's how you and I met them the first time. The first time we ever interacted with each other was via Zoom. Yeah.
And so I feel like with the Zoom calls, we'd have even big meetings on Zoom. We'd have all of that we had to do on Zoom. And I was very nervous about that, because I'm such an in-person person. Like that's where I feel like I can shine better personally. Like I feel like if I'm in person, I do better than over the phone or whatever. And so for me, it was very, it was a little bit nerve-wracking, but then once we got it, I mean, we all made it work, right? We were able to still communicate and do everything over the screens, and that was definitely an adjustment, but I think it made everyone even more excited. I mean, we would have people walking out of the office, and they would walk out and their agent was there with like, here's champagne, here's whatever. Like you did whatever you could to make the process so great. And so I think with Champion, I think it's always trying to keep that exciting moment for everybody, and always trying to, make, you want to make things a big deal for people. You want to make things, and we've also had a lot of crazy stuff happen behind the scenes, and it's trying to keep everyone, happy, on the same page. Like everyone on our team, I feel like has that same mentality, of let's make everyone feel good about this whole process. Let's get them to the finish line, and then let's let them have the best time at the closing. So,
yeah, no, I agree, because I mean, and realistically, it really is. I mean, it really is a process. Rarely do you have a real estate transaction where I'm buying this house, and the next day it's your house. It's a few week, even over a month process, and there's so much that goes on behind the scenes that people don't realize. And so it's, I don't know, help me with the timeline if you can. So we a contract goes, and it immediately goes to the lender,
Mm-hmm.
and it immediately goes to the title processor.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I understand it, lender starts right away,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because they've got to get loan estimates put together and appraisal ordered and
Mm-hmm.
all of that stuff done, and they have 24 to 48 hours to get started.
Mm-hmm.
When does things like title search and stuff, does that start right away?
It starts pretty soon after things get rolling. Like we'll start talking with the lender on the other side to make sure they want to get our fees and all of that kind of stuff so they can add that into, you know, all the pricing
Right.
that they're putting together, all that. But really we're getting that title search going. We are we're getting all the information that we need from the client behind the scenes. We're doing that. We're getting all the agents' information that we need for their, you know, and commission, all that kind of stuff. We're getting all of that in the very beginning.
Yeah.
And I mean, I even have some processors that until they have all the, you know, forms and everything that they need back, that's when they'll schedule closing. They're like, we got to have everything. And it's a good way to train your agents and, you know, into getting everything and kind of, yeah. It's almost like to me, I don't know about you, but like sometimes I feel like an email feels like a hot potato. You want it off your plate, right? Like
Yeah,
or form.
absolutely.
I want it off my plate. I want it done. I want to give it to somebody else. Like you know.
Absolutely.
And so I feel like that's kind of how that works. And then, you know, from there, we're going back and forth with the lender, getting everything we need on both sides. And then, you know, depending how quick closing happens, you know, or if it's a cash deals are a little bit more simple that way sometimes, as long as nothing's on title.
Right.
Different things like that, you know, it just really depends on how your, you know, loan is set up, all of that kind of stuff as far as how long it's going to take to close.
Yeah. Every transaction I have had, there's always been a story. You know, there always something
That's
crazy
part of the real estate world.
You know, and
no deals are ever the same.
No, they're never the same, and they're never that easy. But I mean, just recently, when another interview with the home inspector, I mean, one of the questions I asked him was some of the craziest things you've ever seen. You know, or you ever found a place that was haunted? You know, things like that.
Yeah.
Title search.
That'd be wild.
Has got to be eye-opening in some instances. I mean, you know of any time anything has been found that's been just, whoa, wait a minute, how did that happen?
I'm trying to think.
Do you guys come across things like that, or is it more of just you're going through to look at the history of when and how the title has changed hands?
That's pretty much, I feel like, kind of what it is. I'm sure that
not to downplay.
I'm sure that our title search team, I'm sure that they have the company that, you know, we work directly with, I'm sure has found some crazy stuff there. Yeah. I mean, more of what I hear along the lines is kind of like the crazy things that can happen at closing. You know, like there's, you know, there's been all kinds of crazy stuff that you hear happens at closing. But really, ultimately, you know, it's the more information we get from agents, the better, you know, as far as how their clients work and what, you know, if their clients are in any different situation, you know, because there can be a lot of different things that can come along with divorce or, you know, anything like that too.
You know, kids coming to closing always adds a fun atmosphere to the room.
Yeah.
You know? I had a closing that took just shy of 5 hours. I had to read every page of all the paperwork to the client because she wanted to make sure and trust that it was coming from me, that it was accurate and good and safe. So just shy of 5 hours. That was interesting. The fastest one I've ever done was 19 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. They just literally, I don't have any questions. We just want to sign. And then, this is this page. This is this page. But it amazes me. I do think, am I crazy, or is the amount of paperwork getting less over the years? Because I feel like my wife and I signed just shy of a novel worth of paperwork, whereas recently...
In certain situations too, because like now that there are... you know, you can do all the e-closings and e-notary. Sometimes you can do a hybrid of that where some of those things can be then signed ahead of time and you come in, you have a smaller stack.
Right.
There's different things now that's become such a big deal, which is great. That's another thing with Champion that I should have, you know, said in kind of our core values and everything with the technology part of it, is a big thing that we have done, and I actually just got numbers on this 2 weeks ago, is we have been doing the e-notary e-closings where everything is online for seller side only deals and things like that. And when we've been doing them, for a while during COVID, especially because we knew it was a new thing that was starting. We knew this was a new service that was going to be offered through title companies and different, whatever. And one thing that we did, one of our guys that works for us, he is like one of our most incredible settlement agents, and he always was traveling to different closings and everything. And he really got into the weeds with learning all about the e-closings and all of that. And he has helped create this really awesome side of Champion that is online. And it's for, certain types of settlements you can do there. And we have other people that have used this company that's, Champions to also have, these e-closings. And I want to say that like 2 weeks ago, they said we've done over 10,000 like on there. So that's pretty crazy.
That's awesome.
So there's a lot of that going on too. A lot of really cool tech and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I tell you, I have it bookmarked on the computer is the net sheet, the seller net sheet, the calculator that you all have. I mean, I use it all the time. And that's very, I use it mostly for sellers. Buyers, like buyer's guides and things that you have.
All of those are
all that
online.
kind of information. It's all online.
It's all online.
And I love how it breaks down. It really shows, and I think that's a really important part of the title side of things is you really get to see this is where all the money is going. And this is where it's all coming from. And this is where...
And it's going to show you both sides of the transaction.
Right, yes. Yeah, and I appreciate that because clients always want a ballpark, closing costs. How much is it going to be? I can do the best I can. 2.5%, maybe 3%. Okay, well, what's what? I'm like, okay, wait, hang on a second.
Yeah.
And then you pull it up and you've got itemized.
The seller net sheets have been awesome. We actually have people, I remember I had one woman who said to me one day, she was like, I think I won my listing presentation. There was like 3 of us. And she's like, one of the reasons that I think helped, she was like, was the seller net sheet. Because everyone else's seller net sheet was just kind of like, it sounds silly, but it was just kind of like line by line number, my number, my number, my number. Whereas this other one, as silly as it sounds, has, the agent's face on it, has our face, I think depending who you work with, it's like my face or, but it gives people like that familiar face of like, oh, this is a face that goes with the company. And sometimes people enjoy that, right? Like they like to not enjoy, but you know what I mean? Like they really, I think they appreciate that because it doesn't make you feel like, oh, this is just some company. You actually have a face with the company.
Yeah. Well, yeah, for me, whenever I pull it up, your face pops up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Smile. I love it. It cracks me up. It makes me smile. So I was like, hey, she's the face of the company. Works for me. And I actually just did that yesterday.
There you go. There you go.
But
these are so good.
Right? I love them.
These are,
They're my favorite. I put the little dried apricots on any and every board, no matter what else is going on it. Because one, I love orange is my favorite color.
There you go.
And 2, I love the way
they're
taste.
So good.
Yeah, they're awesome. So, so tell me this. Okay, so as it should be, everything is very client oriented, and it is very set for them, broken down for them, so it can be understood by them. They are the most important part, right? Of course. But us, realtors, me, I have a good grasp, obviously, of the real estate side, and I have a really firm grasp of the maybe even the mortgage and the lending side. But the title side of things, what do you all recommend for a real? What are things that I need to make sure that I am really efficient in, and classes to focus on, and or things that you all provide?
So a big thing for us is Champion University. So Champion University, a lot of the classes that you see through your brokerage, when you see those classes coming through there, a lot of those are Champion, continuing education classes. But really, whether you need an continuing education credit or not, I highly recommend everyone just taking every class that they can. We have classes from the contract updates that happen in January and July. Yep. We always have those set. And then also, we have certain classes, like our most attended class every time is how not to get sued. It always kind of freaks people out. It always kind of freaks people out, but it helps agents figure out the right, how they need to, do their thing without getting sued.
Right. Yeah, that's very beneficial.
So we have a lot of great information there. And then we also have like our top 20 frequently asked questions. I've actually had agents come to that class that have been in the business for 20 years. Yeah. And they've been like, this was actually a really, really great reminder. You know what I mean? Because things always change, right? And a lot of our classes are all built on, are written by our attorneys that work with Champion. And there are a lot of them are actual real life situations that happen that we can speak on. Yeah. Some things you can't because of legalities, but really ultimately a lot of those classes have something to do with obviously things that agents need to know as far as contracts, and the top frequently asked questions, something like that is more of this is what's happened in these situations and this is how to get yourself out of it, or just little reminders of things to remind agents to do, and all that. So the classes really have been a big focus for me too, of making sure that I provide those for the different groups of agents, to all brokerages or a brokerage or anything like that. And then also a big thing, because it's so big in the real estate world, is social media. So social media classes. Yes. So social media and content creation and all of that is really the big thing. It's turned into a lot of the agents' pillars, one of their pillars of how they get business. And so really for us, yes, we're always going to have contract classes. We're always going to have things that are going to be, teaching the agents different things that will trickle down to their clients, but also a big value add for us over the last couple of years have been really adding in a lot of social media classes, so that just different ideas and different things that you guys can use, or different websites that you guys can use that really help you promote your business, and cool things like that you can sit down and learn. You can bring your laptop in and putting together little conferences that are, all social media based, things like that we've really, really gotten into over the last 2 years. Yeah. Have been such a great value add. And then it trickles down to us of, we have content from those classes, and it's exciting for me. While it's very exciting for the whole home buying, process and how it's happening for all of our clients, that's obviously the biggest thing that I'm the most excited about. But the second thing that I love the most is seeing agents get out of their comfort zone. Right. And doing some of these things that we're teaching. Right. It's actually it's just really fun. Or I'll get a text message from an agent that says, hey, how does this look, or whatever. And I love that, because, that's such a compliment that you have people reaching out to you and asking Absolutely. So really that's been another fun part of it is, I can only do so much on the title end and what I do. So having all of the social media and content and ways to grow business and all of that for agents has been a really fun part of this job.
Do you think it's getting more complicated? The more technology, the more advanced? You think the whole process is becoming more complicated or more mainstreamed?
I think with the e-closings and e-notary, I think that has brought so much convenience to people. People that have either not been in the state or something at that moment to close, they've been able to do it all online. It's very secure. Our team has been doing it. Like I said, they've been, they have a ton under their belt now of what they've done. And, the agent can still jump in there and be seen. And same with, I think, the lender as well, if it works for a lender, if they're able to do the e-closing. So there's a, you're still having the closing experience. It's just online. And, some people want to get in and get out. And so especially being able to do it on there, I mean, it's a great situation, and it works out really well for people and they love it. And then, there's also other things that we have that are, EMD delivery that you can do online. It's almost like, depositing a check from the app.
Zocan.
Yeah, and it's
Good
super
stuff.
secure as well. Like, we have all these different things that we introduce to really try to make the process easier for the agent and the clients.
Yeah.
So, I think with time, obviously, it always feels like technology is taking over everything. And I think there's a lot of great things that have come from it over the last couple of years.
I would agree. Yeah, especially from a convenience standpoint. Being able to do all this from home. I've had a lot of clients just in the last year and a half that have bought property here, but they're Hawaii, Washington State, a few other places, and we've done all those closings online.
Which is so convenient to be able to do different things like that.
In fact, I need to find out if they're closing next week if we're going to do it online. They haven't decided if they're coming into town yet. So the having that as an option.
Oh, for sure.
Is a fantastic convenience. But so okay, I want you to give these people advice.
Okay.
Okay. Leave them with something. What do you recommend? What do you want to make sure everybody here knows and takes away from our time today and the questions and the talk?
Okay, so as far as client-wise, I truly believe it's finding the right agent for you. They're going to always, send you in the right direction, and having that person that knows what they're doing, and that, you build that trust, like the relationship thing we've been talking about this whole time. Kind of, it's been here and there because this business is so relationship based.
Yes.
Right. So you see how like for an agent like you love to entertain, you love to put everything around food, which is very, what's the word I want to look for? It's very like, you want to nurture your people, right? Like you nurture with food, like that's how you are. So there's some people that, they're looking for that agent that is going to really just put them through the whole process and they're going to be comfortable with it. And so for clients, that's one thing that I highly recommend is knowing the right agent. And then also, having a great lender. That's a huge part. Local lenders are incredible. They really work their butts off out there, and they are awesome. And we absolutely love the relationships that we have with them. That's the huge part of the whole entire process. And really just going into this whole process and like trusting your people and, and knowing that, our goal is that when you sit at a settlement table, you're already feeling good about the process, but really our attorney or our settlement agent is going to sit there and kind of run the show for you, and let them do that for you, and let yourself enjoy the process. Because if you don't, it just, I don't know, let yourself enjoy the whole process. Yes. It sounds kind of weird, but, and also one thing on our Champion website and our brochures that we give out is having a checklist of everything that you need to do. When I bought my house years ago, that was something that kind of kept me sane. I had a Champion home buyer's guide, and I remember I opened it up, and the first page was literally step by step of kind of how the whole process was going to go from even before title. And having something where I could just check it off, it made me know, obviously you have a great agent and a great lender there to help you with your process, and then the title company, but sometimes I don't know about you, but I'm a person. I have to write something down, right?
Yeah,
I have to write it. I have to check it
Absolutely.
off. It gives me so much happiness just to highlight something that I've done it, And so sometimes that can go a long way with that. But really just, trusting the people that you're working with, and, finding that right company that you want to work with that aligns with what you're looking for. And, that's really what I have for clients. And then as far as for agents, it's really building that relationship. I know I've said that word a million times. It's probably the word of the however long we've done this. I've said it so much, but that's been my favorite part of the business, is building the relationships and having these people. I have people that have turned into great friends and everything. And so you have that trust with somebody, and so I think that agents really building that relationship with their vendors and who they work with, I think that's huge. But also building those relationships with your clients. you may have people that maybe don't want the warm and fuzzies all the time, but
Right.
still keeping touch with them, always staying top of mind. That's such a big thing. But it's really building those relationships with the people that you work with and other agents so that, you never know when there's another listing that someone could be working on or that could have, and your client's dying for that home.
Yep.
And so really, I just think it's so relationship based that, you can't go wrong really trying to get to know people in this whole entire business, whether it's your title company, lender, other agents, different vendors out there. Like just getting to know them and building that trust it goes such a long way, and your clients can feel that. So when I've always gone back to too, when I bought my home, which is what brought me to doing this job full time for so long, my agent had such a tight knit team that I didn't feel any of the bumps, if there were any bumps in the road.
Right.
I didn't feel any of it because they worked so well together and because they had that relationship there. So I think that's kind of like my main thing for agents, and always keep learning. There's always new stuff that happens. There's new classes out there. There's all kinds of stuff. No transaction's ever going to be the same. So always keep learning, whether it's contracts, whether it's social media, whether it's something. There's so much out there. Try to retain all the information.
Yeah, I would agree.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. That's good advice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and what I am going to have, and I'm going to make sure that it's there in the description, will be all of Caitie's contact information, champion title, links, the website, home buyer's guide. Mm-hmm. It'll all be in the description. So all you have to do is click on the links. You'll be able to find all of it. Mm-hmm. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Click the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Make sure your notifications are turned on so you know what's coming up, when it's happening next. There's always going to be something different and crazy, especially if I can get Caitie back and we can play with more things like this. But for now.
And always make a charcuterie board.
Oh, yes.
When you have a chance.
Exactly.
Always make a charcuterie board.
Yes, always make a charcuterie board.
Doesn't matter what it's for. Always make a charcuterie board.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
It has been such a pleasure having you.
Of course. Always happy to hang.
This has been fun. So now we will let them go and click the buttons, and you and I can figure out which sparkling water to open next.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I like it.
Bye.
Bye.